Hi everybody, it's Battle Him. I wanted to speak today about a book I just finished reading by Nora. Her channel is Narcissists, Schmarcisists, and the book is exactly the same title, Narcissists, Schmarcisists. Now, I have seen Nora, I've been watching her channel for a long time, and for those of you that do not know her story, the long and short of it is she has a narcissistic mother and a very, very loving, empathetic father who was her main support system for many years. And what happened was that she married young, and she had a child from a very good man, and unfortunately he died in an accident. She talks about this at length on her channel. I will post the link below, and I'll also post a link to her Amazon book. And basically what happened was he died, her first husband died, and the narcissist came in, of course, and played on her vulnerability and ended up marrying her. Now, her father was a very, very famous, not famous, but very wealthy businessman, and the narcissist probably exploited the fact that she came from a pretty wealthy family in order to weasel his way in, to marry her, and to not have to work very hard. And her father gave him a job, and on top of that, after many years of being spoon-fed by her father, this narcissist, she calls him Al in her book, but all of the names are anonymous. This narcissist ends up ridiculing her father's business and saying that he's a better businessman, yada yada. You know the spiel. As soon as you give them an inch, they take 7 miles from you. So I was just floored by of course, the narcissistic entitlement that this person abused her emotionally for many, many years. Brainwashed, of course, the children against her. She doesn't speak to her 2 children from that marriage. She still speaks to her child from the previous marriage because the narcissist, unfortunately, got his demonic spirit into these 2 children. And so Nora is a wonderful, wonderful woman from what I've seen in her videos. Of course, I don't know her personally, but she's an absolutely wonderful woman, very, very positive, very vibrant. Just by looking at her, you can't really tell that she went through many, many years of abuse, but she does have lots of videos on her channel of her going through the process of unraveling all of this, and it's very, very unfortunate that she had to stay in this, she calls it a loveless marriage, for 24 years. That is a very long time. However, as is the case with most spouses of narcissists and most children of narcissists, she's an extremely accomplished person. She knows how to fly a plane. She knows how to play the cello. She was running around like a hamster in a wheel, as she describes in her book, trying to fix her marriage. And in doing so, I find that this is true of most narcissist victims. In trying so hard to please the narcissist, at the expense of looking at ourselves objectively and seeing our own inner qualities and our own inner beauty, we end up expending an insane amount of energy trying to please them, but in so doing, we develop these great skills. Because it's not funny, but the irony, the paradox of being in these relationships is that you end up being very accomplished because you are a hard worker. And you see that in Nora's book. She runs a hotel business, she plays the cello, she flies. It's almost as if you're reading this book and you're seeing this exquisitely strong woman who is very capable, who is very, very hands-on with everything that she's doing, and yet she doesn't believe in herself because she has these people, she calls them little people, in the background telling her that she's not good enough, that there's something wrong, there's hysteria in the background, there's jealousy, there's vindictiveness. Her mother ruined a business deal for her. And this constant barrage of negativity on the periphery, because it's like a circus, really. The narcissistic family is like a circus where the scapegoated individual is very capable, is very talented, is very good, but they can't see their inner beauty because it's so obfuscated by this disgusting pollution that's coming from the mouths of these demonic entities. And so I believe that every narcissist victim is a diamond in the rough. They are the sorts of person, like Nora, that have an incredible amount of conscientiousness, that are very truthful by nature with themselves and with other people. And so, even though she's writing this book and she's going through all of the emotions and all of the scandal created by her mother, the devaluation after her father's death of her talents, of her capacities, of everything that she did in her life to try and make this family life work. We see a person that is very, very interesting, because who knows how to fly a plane and play the cello and run a hotel business and look absolutely stunning and have a glowing face and a glowing complexion after being married to Satan for 24 years. The answer is Nora. And she met a man that was her flight instructor in the course of this whole unraveling, her father's death, and also the narcissist situation. We all know what that is. She met a flight instructor that was 10 years her junior and ended up marrying him, and that's how the novel or the book ends, Narcissist, Schmarcisists, with her basically saying, well, my husband is a pilot now. And one moment that stood out in the book to me personally was when she said, I remember that. No, she basically the husband asked her. No, she asked the husband. She asked John. That's her husband's name. She asked John, "How did we meet?" Meaning, how is it that after such a catastrophic marriage, I met the perfect person, and they're 10 years my junior and everything? And he said, "You wanted to learn how to fly." And I thought that was just the most solid and most poignant line in the entire book, because we all want to know how to fly at the end of the day. We have been so stifled by these people. And I love the use of the word little people, because they are very little people. They sit and they quibble and they create drama and they judge people, but they don't fucking do anything at the end of the day. And the description of her mother as being parasitic and venomous and always a killjoy and always eager to uplift the golden child at Nora's expense was so spot on in this book. And also, I felt that her father was portrayed beautifully, because her father was not the typical enabler, in the sense that he shielded her from much of the pain that her mother was creating. He was bearing the brunt of that pain, even though he was very successful. So a lot of the time that happens. People that are very capable, very good at functioning, on top of the fact that they have a narcissist in their life, that is very sad when you see that, because frankly, her father deserved a better wife from reading the book. And I just felt it's a shame that she is estranged from her two children. In the book, that she calls them Anna and Elliot, and her son was actually violent towards her in the course of her divorce. And that absolutely broke my heart when I read that, because I felt that this poor woman was being beaten down by her own son. That must have been very painful, emotionally taxing. And her daughter was also estranged. So that's exactly what they do. They brainwash their children into believing that the one spouse is the cause of all of their turmoil and all of their problems, because they want to absolve themselves and they want to absolve the children of any sort of issues. Scapegoatism is very real, and that's why we need to be very careful that nobody ever scapegoats us again. We need to use our mouthpiece to basically put people in their rightful place when they try to do that, when they try to blame shift their issues onto us, because it's very dangerous. It's extremely dangerous. You can lose your children, you could lose yourself, you can lose your self-identity, which is the most important thing in the world, because if you don't have a self-identity, then you can't navigate the world. And so I felt that the book was a perfect book. It was very personal, but the only critique I really have of it is that if somebody that doesn't know about narcissism is reading it, in parts, Nora comes off as a little bit self-righteous, in the sense that she's not explaining the family dynamics to a person that doesn't know about narcissism. It's geared more to the person that understands the cult of the narcissistic family on the surface and can really understand the roles right off the bat. If another person is reading it that has no idea what this is, they may think that in parts she sounds a little bit self-righteous, as if she's really blame shifting the whole situation onto the narcissists, because the narcissists are really at fault. But that communication is lost at times. And sometimes you read it and you say, well, this woman maybe thinks a little bit is probably not taking enough responsibility for the situation. But I know where that's coming from. It's coming from the righteous indignation that she has. So for somebody that's reading the book and has really lived it, I totally get it. Like, you don't have to explain. So that's my review, and you should check out the book. It's absolutely fabulous. Take care. Kisses.